Hello, racing fans. Welcome back to the channel. It's Joe here once again for the Sports Geek, bringing you a little bit of a preview towards next week's action at Royal Ascot. There's loads to cover across the week. One of the best meetings of the flat season here in the UK, and we've got so much to get stuck into. I'm going to be bringing you a few selections in this episode, and because there's so much to talk about, I thought I'd actually start with day one first. I've got three fancies for you from a betting perspective that I think are going to go really well on the opening day. Hopefully, they can give us some good luck. Then, once I've got this episode out there, I will gradually progress through the week, bringing you some of my better bets. But to start off with, I have three bets. One coming in the Queen Anne, one coming in the Coventry, and then I've got one in the 5 furlong King Charles 2. Three really good prospects, I think, for the week ahead, and hopefully we can land the spoils. So the first race that we are going to take a look at here is actually the very first race of the meeting. We're going to have the Queen Anne Stakes over a mile on the straight at Ascot. And this is one of the premier mile races of the entire season, really. We've had really good winners come out of this race, like Frankel, Bailly, we've had Palace Pier, we've had Goldacova, if you want to go back even further. And we've got a pretty decent renewal for the race this year, too. In the betting, we have Noble Speech at 2-1, Opera Bello at 9-2, More Thunder at 11-2, Docklands at 7-1, Zeus Olympus at 12, Damasus at 16-1. And then pretty much any price you like for the remainder there. The horse I'm actually going to start with here, though, is Opera Bello, one of the 4-year-olds in this field, because he is top class. He was keen as you like as a 3-year-old, but he did run sort of 7 times during that period. But I think it was almost a blessing in disguise because that experience seems to have worked wonders for him in his last 3 starts. They've been seriously good. Looks more like a complete horse now, much more mature, and the form is now obviously coming to the front too. He's got 111 stood behind his name coming into this race. He won in December at Meydan in a Group 2. He went back in January, just a month later, and won a Group 1. He then had a small break from January to April and came back and won the Sandown Group 2 Bet 36 mile, doing a job on Field of Gold by 3 lengths, and then had Zeus Olympus back around 4 lengths in third too. So for me, that form is probably the best on offer in this race. But having won there at Sandown last time out, I just feel like they're going to save him for the Eclipse in early July. So that does give me a slight cause for concern with regards to his chances for this race, because ideally, if he was going to turn up here, he would absolutely be my selection. Another reason that he might well go that way, of course, is that Godolphin are also represented by one of the favourites here too. In fact, the outright favourite, Notable Speech. He has Group 1 wins at Goodwood, Newbury, Delmar, Newmarket, Woodbine, but his 2 starts at Ascot, he has actually been beat on both occasions, including this race. So I just don't really want him at 2-1. More Thunder is definitely a really interesting horse. He stays this trip no problem at all. And I could probably see him reversing that form with Notable Speech actually here at Ascot. He was second over 6 furlongs at this course last season. But following that, he actually won 4 of his 5 starts. His only defeat was here over a shorter trip. But he will be much better over sort of this preferred trip as we've seen previously. And I actually think he's going to beat Notable Speech here. So More Thunder definitely comes here with a big chance too. But the verdict, especially from a betting perspective here, was going to be Docklands each way at 7-1. One of the Godolphin horses, as mentioned, won't run here. And I think that's going to be Opera Bello, which is a good factor, really, in the sense I think he's the best horse in the race. I've shared my concerns already about Notable Speech. You've got Zeus Olympus. He has plenty to find with a few of these runners already. Docklands, though, he absolutely loves it here. He's a proper through and through Ascot specialist, who of course won this race last season too. But his Ascot form in general does read 1-1-3-2-2-2-1-4. He absolutely loves it here. Seems to save his best for this course, and his 2 runs this season have actually been quite ideal, really. He won at Doncaster on debut, and he then went over to Chartin to run in the Group 1 over there and finished third, and it was a real close third, less than a length behind My Wish, the winner. From there, though, he's had a 7-week break, obviously, to get him primed for this race. He's really good around here at Ascot. Won this race last year, and I think at 7-1, he is a rock solid each way contender. The next race that we are going to take a look at is the Coventry Stakes for the 2-year-old colts over 5 furlongs. Now, this is a race I do usually enjoy. I probably will enjoy it again this year. However, it doesn't look like we've necessarily got a superstar in the lineup this year. Of course, we've had horses like Caravaggio and Henry the Navigator win this race. Even Gustard last year fought Ballydoyle. I don't think we're going to have a superstar in this field, but at the same time, I do think we do have a standout selection to get stuck into. If we take a look at the betting, we've got Great Barrier Reef for Aidan O'Brien and Ballydoyle at 7-2. Then Confucius at 4-1 for the same connections. We've got Ruler's Pride out there at 10-1, Orthodox at 12-1, and then pretty much any price you like for the remainder. The first horse just to touch on is going to be Ruler's Pride for Carl Burke and Watnam Racing. This is a really nice colt by Memas. Looked really professional, to be fair, on debut, but looking like a horse that was still going to improve and probably one that would appreciate a slight step up and trip. The only problem with him coming here is that this is only his second start to date. His first run was only over the 5 furlong trip, so he does still have to prove that he's going to be just as classy over the 6 furlong trip. And I actually think his two main rivals are going to be ahead of him with regards to experience. Ruler's Pride has only had that one run over a shorter trip and in a small field. He does still have a fair bit to prove. However, he is definitely a classy horse to keep an eye on. And for the each way players out there, he may not be a bad idea. Confucius is there at 4-1. I'm not totally sure what I think about this horse. He has done quite nicely again for the step up to 6 furlongs up Nace. And just like Great Barrier Reef, both of these horses are by no nay never. So this trip is going to be absolutely no problem for them. The one thing maybe to mention about Confucius, he was actually beaten a nose on debut by a horse called Last Soldier. Last Soldier actually went on next time out to get beat nearly 6 lengths by Great Barrier Reef. So potentially there is a little bit of a class difference between those two horses. I'm not totally sure actually that Confucius is even going to run here. And I think that'll probably give the prospects of Great Barrier Reef going off at a much shorter price even on the day. So even though he's the current 7-2 favourite for this race, I do think he's the right favourite and probably one we can start laying into a little bit. His 2 runs so far have come at the Curragh, both over 6 furlongs, but I like the fact that he's handled soft ground. He's also handled good ground, so whatever the conditions are next week, he's going to find those no trouble whatsoever. He won his maiden. He's now a Group 3 winner. He looks like a horse that's only going to keep improving, and he very much reminds me of Gustad, who won this race for Connections last year too. So plenty to like about Great Barrier Reef in the Coventry. I think the 7-2 is just about a decent enough price for us to get involved in now, and hopefully that can make it 2 out of 2 for us on the day. Then my final selection for the opening day of Royal Ascot comes in the King Charles III Sprint Stakes. And again, we've got a really competitive renewal for this year's race, but I do at the same time have a standout selection for you too. Overpass and Jolie Star are going to be coming over here from Australia, and both are probably going to give a really good account of themselves. They both hold really strong form over there. They do have plenty of speed, but the likes of Jolie Star, she's actually won out to a mile. So dropping back here to 5 furlongs, I don't think is totally ideal. And for this race at Ascot, I'd rather find the genuine sprinters, the genuine 5 furlong horses, really, rather than horses that are dropping back from 6 furlongs to contest it. So even though they're likely to be up there on the front end and likely to be there or thereabouts at the finish, I don't think the 5 furlong trip ideally suits either of them. I think they're 6 furlong and 7 furlong horses, really. Rayevka, she's a beautiful filly, she is. I do actually really fancy her chances if the ground was soft, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that way coming towards the event. She hasn't actually won on anything faster than good to soft, and even on good to soft, she's only won one time. So even though she's full of class, I think she'd do better on a much softer surface. American Affair is actually back here again. He actually won this race last year, but I think on the basis of that, you've got to be really intrigued by Night Raider this year in particular. This is a gelding that's improved plenty for the experience and actually looks better than ever this season. His 2 starts to date this year have been in the Group 3 at Newmarket, where he beat Rumstar over 5 furlongs, and then he went to Haydock last time out in the Group 2 at the end of May and actually beat American Affair in the Group 2 Temple Stakes. Had some really good horses in behind, and I actually think Knight Raider won a shade cozily. Just got a little bit on his own at the end, but plenty of speed, and I find it hard to see past him in this race. Like I mentioned, Overpass and Jodie Star, they're going to give a really good account of themselves here, but based on the prices too, you can get 8-1 each way about Knight Raider for 3 places for Carl Burke and Watnam Racing. Really nice horse by Dark Angel. Seems to be one that's getting better with age. Found the perfect trip. Going to have no issue with this course. And I think that's an absolute steal each way. So my 3 selections for the opening day at Royal Ascot. The first comes in the Queen Anne Stakes. We've got Docklands 7-1 each way. My second selection comes in the Coventry. We're going to go with Great Barrier Reef 7-2 win only. And then my final selection of the day is going to be Knight Raider at 8-1 each way in the King Charles III Stakes. Hopefully we can start off the week for Royal Ascot nicely. I'm going to do a few previews over this week for some of the other days too, some of my other strong fancies, but hopefully these 3 selections on day 1 can kick us off to what is going to be a really strong week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Got plenty more content coming for you. If you click subscribe, you will then be notified of when my selections and other bits and pieces do go live here on the Sports Geek. So gamble responsibly, and I'll see you all real soon.